What's up, everybody? I'm Chase Lee, and you know what? I received an email a couple days ago. I receive a lot of emails. I opened up this one, and it happened to be from Dinesh D'Souza's production company talking about his new movie. Movie. Now, I fell into this trap 2 years ago with Hillary's America, The Secret Life of the Democratic Party. It was awful. It was really funny. But it was really awful. And I put that review up online, and I got lambasted. I was, called a bunch of names, which I always love. And people seem to dislike it, the ones that are a fan of D'Souza's work. So I was like, do I really want to put myself through this again? And I was like, sure, I enjoy a good comedy. Let's see what Death of a Nation can bring us. So I'm doing this again, and I'm already going to have a bunch of dislikes and a bunch of hate comments. It's the name of the game, folks. If you want to be that passionate and send out a death threat towards me over a documentary, then you got to do what you got to do, okay? I'm not going to stop you. Your life must be 10 times more interesting than mine. Okay, so this new one, Death of a Nation, is co-directed and written based on his books, Dinesh D'Souza, and it's supposed to follow the parallels between Abraham Lincoln and Donald Trump. Given the movie poster, Trump's going to free a bunch of slaves. It's a magical moment. Okay. Before I get into this review, this is not going to be politically charged. I'm reviewing this as a piece of film. A documentary. Okay? I do not like documentaries that choose one side on anything and don't showcase the other. I do not like when your documentary is focusing on a subject and you're just like, well, this is just a good person, nothing wrong with it, but the other ones, they're bad people, man. Bad people. That doesn't show me any type of range for anything, and you're spewing out propaganda. What I just described is everything Dinesh D'Souza does. Death of a Nation is a terrible documentary. It is a piece of propaganda. Now, you can argue with me and say, no, it's not. It's telling the truth. And you know what I will tell you? Some parts are true. Yes, I agree with you. But when you give this false view on the Republican Party and you compare the Democrats to Nazis, you're asking for it. Like, you're asking for that P word. Propaganda. That's what this is. It does not change from Hillary's America. I will say it changes a little bit, but I'll give credit where credit is due. But this is a bad movie. It's a very bad movie. And the one thing I was disappointed in this one, other than Hillary's America, was this one was not remotely funny in its filmmaking. Believe it or not, they actually tried. So, let's get real and break this down. So, to start with some of my positives, get them out of the way first. The set design of the reenactments, the acting, the props, the art direction, even the cinematography to some degree, is not bad. They got a bigger budget for this movie. Cool. Give credit where credit is due. Their reenactments, there's a lot going on within the frame that are good, I guess. So on a visual front for the reenactments, cool. They did a good job. Everything else is garbage. So, just like I said before, when you're focusing on politics and you have a filmmaker who's obviously biased and you go one side over here, hey, we are the golden people. We are the choir. Nothing is wrong with us. And then you go, well, everything's wrong over here. That's why America's failing. That doesn't serve any type of purpose. What D'Souza likes to do is pinpoint certain things in history and go, look, the Democrats were this 60 years ago, So obviously they're like that now. So apparently no one can grow, no one can change, no one can mature, no one can switch ideologies. That's just really strange to me. That's like if I had a friend and we were kids and they did something stupid, and then 20, 30, 40 years later, when we're grown adults, I go, yeah, I think your whole life was shaped from that moment. Did you mature at all or whatever? And they're like, well, of course I did, because I'm a logical human being. Okay, so the whole movie is D'Souza going around going, the Nazi Party back in Germany had Democrat socialist roots, which to some degree is true. He also pinpoints that slavery, one of the big people behind it, was Andrew Jackson, a Democrat. I get that. You're basically doing an hour and 45-minute, documentary piece on history that we already know, and you're focusing on that time frame. It's interesting stuff, sure, but when you straight out say Democrats and the Nazis have same ideologies, that's such a dangerous game. And what's even worse than comparing them to Nazis and, saying they love slaves and they hated everyone of skin color. Ugh. They brought on Richard Spencer, a white nationalist, and they go, hey, Richard, what are your political viewpoints? And he goes, I don't know, like progressive. Progressive for who? And then D'Souza comes back and goes, who was your favorite president? He goes, I don't know, probably Andrew Jackson. So D'Souza uses that interview and basically twists it and goes, hey, white nationalists are progressive and they love Democratic presidents. You see, the Democrats are the ones that are evil, causing violence. What? If you look at something like the Charlottesville riots that happened last year, those were white nationalists. They were Nazis. You're telling me all of them were Democrats. That's what you're implying. If you ask most people in that crowd, they're Republicans and or Trump supporters. Just throwing that out there. So that's what the whole movie is for an hour and 45 minutes. It's just him going, Democrats are Nazis and yada yada. And what's even worse is that he fillets himself into the Republican Party by going, yeah, Democrats are Nazis. Wham! I just served you. And then the next scene would literally be sunrise shots of DC around the Lincoln Memorial, and they're playing like I think it was a Star Spangled Banner or some American song. And what D'Souza was saying before that was the Democrats are evil, and we need to push them out. America. It's like. You are basically saying, without saying it, because I am not an idiot, yo, Democrats are evil, Republicans are just all great. And I'm not even joking. That's the whole movie. In a political documentary, I know it's not going to be possible for people that are on the left or the right. No one's going to show both sides. No one's going to use common sense. No one's going to use any type of viewpoint from the other side, nothing to balance it out. It's going to be one-sided. It's going to be heavy. And it's just, that's what irritates me about this stuff. Because if D'Souza actually attempted, and cool, we acknowledge history for the Democratic Party has not been good. Okay. Maybe see how much they've matured. Yeah, there's probably some bad apples in the left and the right. But why don't we see a progression? Instead of going, look what they did 50 or 60 years ago, let's get out in the streets and let's riot against them. You're basically telling your crowd of people that the Democrats are nasty. You need to realize that they're nasty. And he's almost giving like this violent kind of rhetoric towards the people that are going to watch this going, you need to do something about it. These are Nazis. You need to stop them. And speaking of violence, just like always, D'Souza takes a bunch of protest clips, ones of two people throwing something through a window. And he's like, look, they're so evil. They don't want anything to be done. They're just stopping the process. Guys, most protests are civil. There might be a couple people there, a-holes. That doesn't define the whole group. Kick them out. It goes for the right as well. I know the right, there's logical people that have peaceful protests, and there's going to be some that want to throw like Molotov cocktails at a car or something. Just what it is, but it doesn't define the whole group. I love political discussions. I love talking to people on the left, right, independent, center, whatever. I work in a place where I am maybe one other person is like progressive, independent, moderate, kind of like in the middle, swaying to the left or the right just a hair. I work amongst a ton of Republicans. I sat down with one of them this week and I talked to him about this movie. And even he straight up said this is propaganda. Because he's a logical person. He's like, yeah, I like what the administration's doing and all this stuff, and he's got problems with it. He likes stuff, and then I told him about this movie, and he's like, yeah, that doesn't seem right. So that's to conclude the documentary. There's really nothing more. Hour and 45. Democrats are Nazis. And they touch upon the slave thing, which is D'Souza. You already touched upon that in Hillary's America. Do we really need another section for it? So, it is what it is. It's not a movie. But you know what? I'm still going to get hate in the comments, so please fire away. Do what you got to do. But just know, I actually like political discussion, and I like talking back and forth, but stuff like this is not going to help anyone talk about any type of change. It's just going to make it worse. So I'm going to give, because of the reenactments were way better in this one than Hillary's America, there's your credit, then I will give this movie a D-. Everything else is just downright vile and atrocious, just from my viewpoint, because it doesn't really add anything to the conversation, just has this weird fantasy of, in 2018, telling the people that you're going to watch this, one party is are the Nazis, and you need to take care of them type of deal. Scary stuff, man. And you know what? I got to give another piece of credit where credit is due. Dinesh D'Souza and his production company are smart people. They are so smart because they send out the link to their movie to people like me. And they're just like, hey, watch it. Embargo is this date. They expect most of us to watch it and to rant about it online, and the people that are going to defend him are going to comment nasty things down below, and they're going to be like, well, I'm going to show him that this movie's going to be good, and then they go support it in theaters. It's actually a really, really genius marketing move. So you know what? Hats off to you. I'm not as angry as it was at Hillary's America, just because everything about that was just downright awful and just a repeat of history, like a history lesson. This one's a little bit better in some aspects, but it's still propaganda at heart. So you know what? There you go. D- for me. Death of America. Death of a Nation. Have fun, everyone. Go watch it. Go comment down below. Just do what you gotta do. Okay? I'm Chase Lee, and thanks for tuning in for this review. And then tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.